Happy Monday, everyone. You know, you've heard the term Manic Monday. I've hijacked Pandemic Monday. And here we are. Things seem to be opening up a bit. Hospitalizations coming down, deaths coming down. The media is hysterical about hydroxychloroquine. Just makes me crazy when politics get involved with medicine. It's generally bad. But you know what nobody's talking about is the real reason why deaths in the United States are dramatically higher than they are in the rest of the world. And that is because as a country, as a society, we are unhealthy. What society on earth are 72% of their members overweight, 40% obese, that 50% of us are either diabetic or pre-diabetic, 60% of us have hypertension or pre-hypertension. We can lock down a society. We can ruin the economy. We can spend trillions of dollars. And we're not solving the problem. We're not even coming close. In fact, I suspect we're actually making it worse, because the second pandemic that's coming is a mental health pandemic. That's what's coming, with rise in anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. Did you see the emergency room doctor in New York who killed herself this weekend? It's horrifying. And you know that these heroic healthcare workers are being traumatized left and right. But yet no one is talking about why we are so vulnerable. And what I want to talk to you about tonight is how to not get involved in the second wave. And yes, the second wave is likely to come as the flu season comes and increases the number of people who need hospitalization. And we haven't figured out yet the vaccine for COVID, although there's some positive news out of England and Oxford University. They're actually starting a large-scale human trial. But your best defense against this virus, your best defense against the second wave is your health. It's your immune system. And in my book, The End of Mental Illness, you're like, well, how does the end of mental illness apply to COVID-19? So one, we need to end mental illness. And how do we do it? We throw away the term mental illness and call these things what they really are: brain health issues that steal your mind. And then we see the brain as an organ. The brain is a physical organ. And are you going to get that organ healthy, or are you going to get it sick? And you do that by preventing or treating the 11 major risk factors that steal your mind. And we know what they are. And what I've been so impressed during this pandemic is many of them, so let's just say 7 of them, are directly related, that if you have this risk factor, you're more likely to die from COVID-19. And so I see a huge opportunity to get the world healthy. And in that way, we can minimize this second wave. And we should have been doing it all along. Do you know that 75% of the healthcare dollars in the United States are spent on chronic, preventable illnesses? Chronic, preventable illnesses that is driving the epidemic rise of things like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, sleep apnea, and so on. So what I want to do tonight, so this is really the core of the end of mental illness. Once we break the old paradigm, you have 5 of these 8 symptoms, you're depressed, so you take Prozac. It's a dumb paradigm. I don't make friends with many of my colleagues. They hate me because know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Making diagnoses based on symptom clusters with no biological information, that's dumb. So if we're going to break it, how are we going to reshape it? Is we're going to see the brain as an organ, and every other system in the body is making it better or making it worse. And so, if you want to do well with this second wave, it is time today for you to start taking care of your brain and your body. And how you do that is you prevent or treat the 11 major risk factors that steal your mind. I created a mnemonic called Bright Minds, and I'm going to go over a couple of them. The B in Bright Minds is for blood flow. Low blood flow is the #1 brain imaging predictor of Alzheimer's disease. It's associated with depression, schizophrenia, and ADHD. What gives you low blood pressure or low blood flow to the brain? High blood pressure. As blood pressure goes up, blood flow to the brain goes down. Oh, guess what? Hypertension is one of the risk factors of mortality, which means it's going to kill you. How do you normalize blood pressure? It's exercise. Oh, by the way, that exercise helps everything else. Exercise is really helpful. You don't want high blood pressure. 60% of Americans are hypertensive or pre-hypertensive. You got to get your blood pressure under control. Foods like beets increase blood flow. Cayenne pepper, oregano, rosemary increase blood flow to the brain. So there's medical conditions, there's exercise that helps, there's food that helps, there's supplements that support blood flow. One of my favorite is ginkgo biloba. The R in Bright Minds is retirement and aging. When you stop learning, your brain starts dying. Oh, by the way, did you know the older you are, the more vulnerable you are to being killed? There's a great question from Billie Jean. If you have low blood pressure, my mother has low blood pressure. Oh, by the way, my parents are doing great. A really good day for my dad. Really excited about that. Low blood pressure is not good either, because especially in the elderly, if you have low blood pressure, you're not getting enough blood flow to the brain. So make sure you're drinking a lot of water and that you change positions slowly. If you change positions too quickly, blood pressure can drop, you can fall. That's the H, which is head trauma, is a problem. So with the R, retirement and aging, the older you are, the more serious you need to be about brain health. The I is inflammation, which comes from the Latin word to set a fire. When you have inflammation in your body, it's like you have a low-level fire that's destroying your organs. What does COVID-19 do? It increases inflammation in your body. And so if you're starting with high inflammation because you're overweight, because you have diabetes, because you have gum disease, got to take care of your teeth and your gums. If you have high inflammation because you don't eat fish, or you have low levels of omega-3 fatty acids, I recommend all of my patients take a high quality omega-3 supplement, such as omega-3 power that we make at BrainMD. If your gut's unhealthy, what does your gut have to do with immunity or with your brain? Everything. You have 100 trillion bugs in your gut, and you're either feeding them foods that help them be healthy, or you're murdering them with, foods raised with pesticides, or drinking alcohol, or being under chronic stress and not having a stress management practice. So processed foods also increase inflammation. So getting your diet right, so important for all of these risk factors, taking omega-3 fatty acids, probiotic, seeing your dentist regularly. Now I know many of the dental offices are closed, which means you want to really be taking care of your gums. So when I learned about the research, really became a flossing fool. The G in Bright Minds is genetics, and genes are not a death sentence. What they should be is a wake-up call. Know what you're vulnerable to, and then prevent it. So, for example, I have obesity and heart disease in my family. I'm 65. I'm not overweight, and I don't have heart disease. Why? Because I know it's risky for me, and so I don't give in to the behaviors making it likely to be so. And I know so many people go, well, I'm fat because I have it in my genes. Yes, I understand you have bigger genes, but no, you're overweight often because you have bad habits and you gave in to the genetic vulnerability. The H is head trauma. And head trauma, well, how does that lead to an infection? If you have a head trauma and affected the front part of your brain, you're likely to have made bad decisions for your health, either with more drugs and alcohol or more bad food. Protect your brain. T is toxins. So I talk about alcohol and marijuana and environmental toxins. But the toxin I'm most worried about is all the disinfectants you're using. Read the labels. Read the labels. Often when you're washing your hands with disinfectants or with soap that has parabens and phthalates and fragrance and things you can't pronounce, whatever goes on your skin goes in your body and affects your body. And that's why I'm a fan of a couple of brands, but I'm especially a fan, and I get no money from Earth Friendly Products. They make the Ecos brand in your store. I just love those people. They make healthy cleaning products. So when I did the dishes tonight, Tana made a Lebanese dish called Lubian Rose, which is lamb and tomatoes and green beans, and it is just awesome. I am such a lucky guy to be married to that woman. But, she cooks, I do the dishes, using healthy dish soap. Do you want to get rid of the toxins? So one, you have to avoid exposure and then support the 4 organs of detoxification. So drink more water to flush things out through your kidneys, eat more fiber to flush things out through your gut, take care of your liver, kill the alcohol, and eat brassicas. Those are detoxifying vegetables: broccoli, kale, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. I like them all. And then sweat with exercise. I'm talking into my phone. I think I have about 14,000 steps today. I actually do walking meetings, now, because It's like you don't need to see me on Zoom. I have you on the phone. I'm taking a walk while I talk to my team at Amen Clinics and BrainMD. Saunas can also be helpful if you have access to one. The M in Bright Minds, mental health. If you have ADD, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, all of things can decrease your immune system. So between now and the fall, you need to take care of them. And if you don't have somebody you're working with, you can call Amen Clinics, go to amenclinics.com. We are seeing people virtually in 8 of our clinics. The I, and I had no idea how important this was going to become, is immunity and infections. Because I saw things like Lyme disease or autoimmune disorders like rheumatoid arthritis really, yes, our New York clinic is back up. Thank you for asking, Bonnie. I saw autoimmune disorders and infections cause mental health issues, or really, I should say, brain health issues. And now we have COVID-19, which we know affects your brain. It increases the risk of stroke in young people. It can decrease your sense of smell, your sense of taste, can cause confusion and dizziness. And the way to fight that, strengthen your immune system now. Don't wait for the fall. You need to get your body ready. Vitamin D, know and optimize your level. I take 7,000 units every day. When I first started, my vitamin D level was super low, so I took 10,000 for a couple of years, and on 7,000 a day, my level's 73, normal's 30 to 100. And quite frankly, I never wanted to be toward the bottom of my class, so I always like it if I'm somewhere between 60 and 100. Vitamin C, we have a new NeuroC, a liposomal vitamin C coming, tastes phenomenal. Zinc, about 20 milligrams. Neurovite Plus, the multi-nutrient brain-directed supplement we created, has 20 milligrams of zinc in it. And then eat things like mushrooms, garlic, onions. I mean, you can make a stir fry that just tastes amazing. There are onions in the Lubian Rose tonight. Spectacular. The N is neurohormone deficiencies. If your hormones aren't right, if your thyroid, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are not right, I'm 65. I should have low testosterone, right? For women, they call it menopause. For men, they call it andropause. My level was 650, and I'm not taking testosterone. The secret, lift weights and kill the sugar and foods that quickly turn to sugar because they damage your hormone levels. So know and optimize your hormone levels. The really important one, the biggest risk factor for COVID-19 mortality is being overweight or diabetic. And the D in Bright Minds, something I call diabesity. It's where your blood sugar is high, my hemoglobin A1C, I'm bragging, I'm sorry, but I just got all my labs tested and they were great. My hemoglobin A1C is 5.2, that's what you want. And so being pre-diabetic or diabetic, overweight or obese. And I have seen so many people with type 2 diabetes lose their type 2 diabetes, not with medicine, but by changing their diet and increasing their exercise and taking some simple supplements. And I like, and we actually don't make this, but a supplement I really like for blood sugar is berberine. And I take berberine every day, and it really helps manage my blood sugar. So I'm a huge fan of berberine, but you got to get your diet right. and in the end of mental illness. And for some reason, this book is just selling really well now, and it makes me so happy. There's a chapter in the book I really loved, and I debated on the title of the chapter for a while, but it's called Food Made Insanely Simple. And it's basically eat this, don't eat that, simple rules. I even talk about the connection between gluten, grains, and schizophrenia. Did you know that schizophrenia is very rare in societies that do not eat grains? Isn't that interesting? I think it's so interesting. And then the S is sleep. Getting good sleep, treating sleep apnea is absolutely critical. A question on what vitamins should people take every day. There's a whole chapter on mind medicines versus nutraceuticals in the book. A multiple vitamin, multiple mineral supplement like Neurovite Plus, an omega-3 fatty acid supplement because over 90% are low. So we make omega-3 power. Optimize your vitamin D level. And then it really depends on your brain type and your need. We have a free brain health assessment, brainhealthassessment.com. And you'll know, well, what your brain type is. And one of the brain types is spontaneous. Well, they were out this weekend protesting. And as I drove by, was on Pacific Coast Highway this weekend, at the corner of PCH in Maine and Huntington Beach. There's like 50 people at the light, and I'm like, nobody's got a mask on. I'm like, oh, these are the spontaneous people. They're just out there. They're not thinking, as opposed to people like my wife, who's more the cautious and persistent. She's like, no, we're not doing that, because they're thinking about the consequences of their behavior. So if you want to avoid the second wave, if you want to push the second wave away for you and your loved ones, you want to prevent or treat the Bright Minds risk factors that we talked about. And if you haven't gotten a copy of The End of Mental Illness, please get it. I think you'll really love it. It'll just be your handbook on how to have a better brain and a better life. Have a great evening. See you soon.